Now, as we've told you, despite the fact that the headline polls are apparently 10 points in favour of each way Albo, the seat-by-seat polling is a lot tighter. Put simply, for Labor to become government in its own right, it needs 7 seats to win. For that to be the case, they need to move forward in Queensland, they need to move forward in Victoria. But that seat-by-seat polling that we went into detail last night shows it's not happening. It's not happening in Queensland, it's not happening in Victoria. So the assumption is that there'll be a grand revolution happening in New South Wales. The McGowan factor will bury the government in Western Australia, and because seats often flip in the north of Tasmania, that will be enough. But even if that's the case, it doesn't get them to the 7 seats, which of course means cue the Greens to end up being the co-government of the country. But interestingly, on the issues, when you have a look at how things go down in each of these seats, have a look, because it tells you the picture that it is not 10 points everywhere. In fact, according to this here, between the Coalition and the Labor, who do you believe will do a better job when it comes to cost of living? Now, in most of these, you end up in a scenario where Labor ends up in front. However, in places like Flynn, which is around Gladstone in North Queensland, that is in favour of the government, as it is in Longman in Queensland. So, again, they can't go forward in Queensland, they can't get to the 7 seats. This is the hardcore granular maths here. Now, between the Coalition and Labor, who do you believe will better manage the Australian economy? Well, the government gets the tick of support in Boothby in South Australia, Chisholm in Victoria, Flynn in Queensland, Longman in Queensland, dead level on Swan in Western Australia. Now, Swan in Western Australia is one of the 2 seats that the lefties think they are guaranteed to win. Well, if it's about the economy, it's a dead level ball. If it's about preferred Prime Minister, it's a dead level ball. Again, part of the challenge for both sides of politics is going to be, what does the economy mean? Does the economy mean you have a job? Does the economy mean low interest rates? Or does the economy mean that stuff costs more than it used to a few months ago? Whoever wins that argument ends up winning the election. And just finally, which one do you think is going to make you safe and secure? Well, the Liberal Party in front in Bass in Tasmania, Boothby in South Australia, Chisholm in Victoria, behind in Dunkley, it's a Labor seat anyway, in Victoria, in front in Flynn, in Gilmore in New South Wales, Longman, behind in Reid, that could be one of the losses around Sydney, sort of centred in and around everything around Drummoyne, I think through to Homebush there, and Swan in Western Australia. So it's tighter than anyone wants to admit.